Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Are you feeling charitable? Then smash the subscribe button and the like button, and please do follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Flashpoint versus Spider-Man 3. This is something I've been meaning to talk about with you guys and girls for a very, very long time, because there seems to be a repeat reset situation going on here. And this takes me back to Batman versus Superman versus Captain America Civil War. Two very, very similar films. One very dark, realistic, putting superheroes in the real world, deconstructing superheroes to reconstruct them again. And then you've got Civil War, which does go to a dark place, but tries to step back to the middle ground of the Marvel Universe. So I think both of these films, upcoming movies, are very, very interesting because they're both following each other, just like Batman vs. Superman and Captain America Civil War. Now, I don't think the MCU is under a lot of pressure by doing Spider-Man 3 in this way, using Doctor Strange to open up the multiverse. It's something that people are going to be very, very excited about. It's not about fixing anything. It's just about introducing Miles Morales and bringing in Andy Garfield's Spider-Man and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man as well. It's something people have been talking about for a very, very long time. I think it's something fun and exciting. But when you look at the Flashpoint movie, directed or will be directed by Andy Muschietti and written by Christina Hodson, this is an era-defining movie. This is a franchise changer. This film is literally using The Flash to restructure the whole franchise, to give us a new Earth one, to reboot the dceu. That's why it's being used. And I know that Andy's told us it's a reboot, but nothing that's happened already will be forgotten. That's because they're going to place these different kind of movies within the dceu in different Earths, so they can centralize a brand new Earth within the multiverse strategy. As I say, this is a realignment of the DCEU franchise, and there's a lot of pressure on it. I'm absolutely staggered. Not staggered that they're doing this, because there's been rumors about this ever since Justice League 2017, or as we call it, Justice League. But I am staggered that someone as low-key as Andy Muschietti, and as much as a great director and filmmaker and storyteller he is, I'm surprised that he's being allowed to do this. And then this project, this redefining, era-changing project, is being written by Christina Hodson, who hasn't done anything really that successfully or that kind of critically acclaimed. You look at the Harley Quinn movie, you look at the Transformers movie she did. There's not really something where I can point to and say, well, this is the correct writer to reassert the DCEU. Now, I've told you before that I believe that Ben Affleck has rewritten this picture, and I think that they were his terms so he could be in the Flashpoint movie. But you've got to remember, everybody's going to be in this movie. All the characters that have been established within the DCEU, and I mean all of them, whoever you can think of, Shazam, Harley, all of them, they're going to be in this universe. I've already teased that maybe Margot Robbie's done, but for her to be done, she would probably have to have a way out of this. Certain characters may even be killed off and new versions of them reborn. As I say, this is massive. And as I say as well, I am shocked who's behind this movie, because you would expect notable people. But it's not notable people that are in charge of this. These are people you wouldn't expect to be in charge of a franchise-changing movie. And I mean, you have no doubt here, this is what Andy Muschietti's Flashpoint movie is. It's to reassert the whole franchise. This film has to work, and it needs to restructure the DC extended universe in the way that Walter Hamada and Jim Lee, AT&T and Warner Brothers want. This is a film, as I've already said, that will restructure the multiverse. It will divide what we've already seen into Earths. It will divide things like Superman the movie, and Arrowverse and everything. You will see Arrowverse characters, probably all of them, in this film. There'll just be short cameos. Everyone will be seen that we've already seen. As I say, Superman the movie, maybe even the Lois and Clark show. Everybody. Nicolas Cage's Superman has already been rumoured to be in this. Amazing. Awesome. Michael Keaton's Batman, Batfleck. These are people who will be redefined in certain Earths. So, and then they've got to decide who is in Earth 1. And it's kind of complicated within box office because that's where the decision lies, really. You've got Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, who is the darling of the mainstream. You've got Jason Momoa's Aquaman, which is the darling of the mainstream. $800 million, $1 billion box office. Then you've got Joaquin Phoenix Joker. Will he figure in this movie? Will Joaquin Phoenix want to be involved in something like that? Apparently he's already signed a 2-picture deal. So maybe he would be involved somehow. You just do not know. But I think he would have to be involved. As I say, because they're going to reassert everything into different Earths. And even though Jim Lee and Walter Hamada say at this moment in time, Zack Snyder's verse, the Snyderverse is still, within the DCEU. Yes, I get that. I understand that. But obviously, they're going to divorce that. The Snyderverse was originally Earth 1. It's not Earth 1 anymore. As I say, a massive project, a massive task for Andy Muschietti. Now, I love the Muschietis. I love Andy and I love his sister. I think they're really good movie people. I think they're passionate about telling good stories. But as I say, they've been charged with something really big. But clearly, the story structure, the way it's going to happen, obviously is down to Jim Lee and Walter Hamada. They're going to decide what's Earth 1. I've predicted already that Matt Reeves' The Batman is Earth 1, that J.J. Abrams' Superman will be Earth 1. That's just, I definitely think whatever happens with Matt Reeves' The Batman, J.J. Abrams' Superman, which I keep on telling you is going to happen. I'm just waiting for that announcement. He will definitely be Earth 1. So they're reasserting the platform and the franchise. And it's so massive. There's so much riding on it. And then, when you look at Spider-Man 3, yeah, Phase 4 is using the multiverse. And I think Phase 5 will use the multiverse even more to reassert, Singer's X-Men and things like that, to bring in the stuff that was successful for Fox as well. So they're reasserting themselves. But the difference between the MCU doing the multiverse and the DC Extended Universe, the MCU, whether we like it or not, and I don't like it, is coming from a very successful place. It is the most successful film franchise of all time financially. That cannot be denied. I don't like it, but it is fact. They are under no pressure here, and I do believe they fucked up Tom Holland's Spider-Man. No arc. I said yesterday in a video, Andy's Spider-Man, Andy Garfield's Spider-Man had an arc. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man had an arc. There was depth. The casting was brilliant. When you look at Tom Holland's Spider-Man, apart from his casting, Marissa Tomei, a miscast, Zendaya, a miscast, they were looking at representation more than actually creating a great spanning Spider-Man universe. J.K. Simmons is back as Joe Jameson. I never can say that name. Is it Joe Jameson? Whatever it is anyway. He was great in Tobey's verse. How are they explaining that? Has he come through the multiverse already? That's interesting. Looks slightly different than he did in the Tobey Maguire verse as well. So we'll see what happens there. But as I say, they are under no pressure whatsoever and you're not going to like me for this because they come from a successful place. Where our films over at the DCEU, even though I love BVS and MOS, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Shazam's a great movie too. Then you look at Joker and all of that, right? But for the mainstream and the critics and the audiences, it's deemed as a failure. So there's a lot riding on the Flashpoint movie to reassert this universe, and you can have as many theories as you want. And I'm excited for Flashpoint. When I heard about the plans in DC fandom, as you saw my reaction, I'm extremely pumped for this multiverse strategy. I think it's exciting. I think it can work, but it has to work when you see, the Flashpoint movie is like drawing a map and deciding what you're putting on that map. It's a very delicate movie that it's got to work as a film itself, but it's also got to work in the restructuring of this franchise and this universe. And if they get it wrong, it is over. It is over. There can be no DC movie franchise if this film doesn't work. And they can't, and they'll just end up just making individual movies. And I suppose they'll make money, but it won't be the same. There is a war going on between Warner Brothers and Disney, and Warner Brothers have to get this sorted out. There's also the divide between Warner Brothers Pictures, Warner Media, AT&T and HBO Max, if you believe there is a divide. There's also this situation, we don't know if Batfleck's going to die in the Flashpoint movie, and what does that mean for over on HBO Max? Could he still do his The Batman kind of limited series, which he's rumoured to be doing? We don't know if that's true, by the way. So these are all things, I suppose he could do it if it's set before he dies. That's fine. But we know he was going to die within Snyder's vision anyway. So again, that'll be interesting to see. You can't kill off a character here just because it's a Warner Brothers picture production, and then over on HBO Max, he's not dead and it's all forgotten about. Obviously, they're not going to do that, but they really have to think about it, and I'm sure they are. Look, they know that there's so much riding on this. So this multiverse strategy that Walter Hamada and Jim Lee have set up, and the first act of that, mainly the first act, because there's something going to happen in Wonder Woman 84 in terms of the multiverse strategy as well. This is why it was delayed from last year to this year. No question about that. Well, I know, but you'll find out how all that works out. But basically, the Flashpoint movie sets all this up. The new franchise, who's in what Earth. It's, and as I say, it's they're rebooting. Barry Allen is rebooting the universe. This is how Flashpoint will be solved. And so everyone will be in their own Earths, right? And then it begins. And who knows if the DC Extended Universe will have some kind of arc after that. I think it will. So they're going to have to decide who's in Earth 1. Is it a bunch of brand new actors, brand new versions of these heroes? Or are they going to reassert people like Wonder Woman and Aquaman and divide them from the Snyderverse and put them in Earth 1? These are things that they have to decide. These are the realities of the situation. And it's stuff that neither you or I can make any decisions on. In a way, we are making the decisions because they know what's popular. They know what's less popular. They know what should remain in the Snyderverse over on HBO Max. They know what they want centrally in Earth 1. Earth 1 will be the mainstream, brighter, inspirational universe. Let me explain it to you. It's going to be their version of the MCU. So it will pretty much be brand new. So in that essence, maybe Wonder Woman will be over on HBO Max, but I doubt it. I think she'll be central, unless they create a brand new Wonder Woman. So if the Batman is Earth 1, the Wonder Woman in Matt Reeves' universe would be the brand new Earth 1 Wonder Woman. It all remains to be seen what their plans are. But yes, there will be a divide. There will be these characters dividing into different Earths. There could be one version of the character that might be plumped out of one Earth and trapped in another. It's that strange. But it's, as you can see from what I'm saying, it's a very complex situation because you could end up confusing the mainstream audience. And it's not that difficult, as we saw from BVS, to confuse the mainstream audience. And they're not very interested in depth, in character development. They're interested in a few jokes and a few explosions in great CG. That's it. We see that the most exciting thing, like the fans of the MCU discuss, is what's the next cameo? Who could be put in this? Is this one really dead? That's the depth of what they talk about. So this will be DC Earth 1. That's the kind of Earth you'll be getting. And I don't know, even Arrowverse could be Earth 1. I'd be absolutely pissed off if that happened. But the Arrowverse shows slowly do seem to be cancelled. So they could become films. But I doubt they'll be Earth 1. I'm still plumping for a brand new set of actors, versions of these characters, maybe with Gal and Jason pulled in and separated from the Snyderverse. That could be controversial, but I could see things like that happening. It wouldn't be a shock to me or many other people. So as I say, there's a lot riding on this, and they have to get it right. And I'll just finish off saying and repeating what I said at the start. I'm staggered that Andy Muschietti and Christina Hodgson are leading the baton to this orchestra with so much riding on it. I want you to comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back later with more videos. See you again soon.